breathe, it's a bit like this and not like that.
My name is Wendy Fleming, and on behalf of Melbourne Poets Union, I'm proud to welcome you to our annual bilingual event. MPU has a proud history of 35 years service to poetry. We particularly cherish this event, which is published, which we put on every year in October. This particular event has been organised by Marietta, Elliott-Kleerkoper and Dorothy Poulopoulos, and I thank them on behalf of MPU. A special thanks also to Janet Galbraith, who has made the trip from Castlemaine and today brings a group of refugee writers to present their poems.
Who does a lot of work and is always called upon to read. The first two pieces he read are written by a young Somali boy who is now 17 and is imprisoned in Christmas Island. He's been there for 15 months. So he's one of the many children who arrived alone and remained. The second piece that Hidayat read was by a man who's in Nauru, who has been in detention there for just over 2 years. He's a Tamil man. He's written a whole book of poetry and illustrated it, and that will come out in the new year. I'll read one more of his at the moment. It's called My Time Is in Your Hand. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away. All day long I groaned, and my strength dried up from the heat. Deliver me from this suffering. Protect me from those who rise up against me. I am weary with my crying out. My throat is parched. My eyes grow dim. I have come into your very deep water, and now I have sunk into that deepest suffering. I cry out day and night before you. Please hear my cries. My life is full of troubles. You have put me in the depths of the pit. You have caused my companions to shun me. Your weariness has swept over me. I am here, helpless, now. My time is in your hand. This is a piece written by it was originally written in Tamil, and we haven't got our usual reader who could read in Tamil, so I'm just going to read it in English. So it's a translation. This man has been detained in immigration detention for just over 5 years. I cannot describe how we are living. Fish speak to the sea. Waves speak to the shores. We float on our vessel. We saw death with our eyes. We endured our hunger. We struggled because our paths changed. Our visions blurred, making us yearn. Everything I touched became a lesson. We came here in search of life. The path we came on was dangerous. We were anxious. Did we face life or death? We are still rotting behind barbed wire fences. The life we hoped for is now hopeless. The government does not care what becomes of us. People look at us as entertainment. We are living like dogs. 5 years have passed. We are living in fear like animals who have 5 senses. Inside 5 layers of electric fence. The deep sea welcomed us. We passed danger. Now we live without support. The soul cannot live without a body. The body cannot grow without a soul. The next one is kind of comical. and strong, and it's written by a young woman. She was 17 when she wrote this on Christmas Island. She has also been detained for 15 months and is a child who came alone. It's called Baby. A pregnant woman was in detention. She was finding it very difficult to deliver her baby and was in a lot of pain. The nurses, as usual, yelled at her, "Push!" But there was no signs of the baby coming forth, no matter what they did. About 5 minutes later, the baby's head came out and asked, "Is this Australia?" "Yes," said the nurse. "What about the detention centres? Are they still open?" "Yes," said the nurse. "Is Tony Abbott's government still there?" "Yes," said the nurse. "Are they still taking people to Manus and Nauru?" "Yes," said the nurse. "What about the newborn babies? Are they still in detention?" "Yes," said the nurse. "Is Scott Morrison still Immigration Minister?" "Yes," said the nurse. "Oh no! What happened? Anyway, thanks for the information. I'm not coming out."
Place this chair here, which is the symbolic empty chair, which as a member of PEN, and I encourage all of you to join the PEN network, which is concerned with supporting writers in prison. We always have an empty chair to indicate a writer in jail. And the first thing I've got a little bit of a boast, which is this picture which I took of a protester at the rally after the death of Reza Baratis. This won the postcard prize at the Linden Gallery. Yeah. And so this will be reproduced as the Linden postcard for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was really unexpected. Anyway, so just thinking about Reza Barati, we might have had mutual friends, met in a hotel in Delhi or on a train. We could have read the same poets, Hafiz, Rumi, Khayyam, or the New Diaspora. We might have shared the same enthusiasm for flatbread, hot from the oven, and golden rice, sealed on the base of the saucepan. You might have played computer games with my nephew, and who knows, you might have won. But we will not know, because you died in a jungle, a guard's jackboot to your head. You came from Kurdistan and were exiled to Manus Island. You did not make it to Australia. Reza, there was a place for you here. We will save your empty chair. This one's a little bit more cosmic. I was asked to write a poem for an interfaith, an interfaith poem for the Buddha's birthday. So this one was premiered to an audience of 2,000 people, which is a really big audience for poetry. She comes from a fasted full moon, from inside caves and under trees, and from long journeys without maps. She is there with the sadhu and the saint and the sinner who is born again. She is there with the prophet and the wise woman and the healer. She comes out of the mouth of the musician who can sing the gods down and show them inside the temple. She is found in the Japanese drawn line of bamboo on paper, in the stretch of the arched bow, reaching for the target in tea ceremonies and bowing. She comes out of the lines on the faces of old people and out of the smiles of small children. She emerges from weighty books and guides the pens of those who would define her. She merges into incense smoke, candles, prayers at dawn, and stokes the hunger for God, truth, and understanding. She finds meaning in suffering and purpose in love, and gives strength to those who seek her. She is the connectedness of all things, the past, present, and future joined up. She is the whirl of the dervish and the beat of the drum and the flute that holds a note across the ages. She is the poet's vision and the power of speech. She is the knowable truth, the truth that's known when there's no one to know. She is the song and the prayer and the dance and the call and the answer. That old woman wisdom. And I'll just come back down to earth. Letterboxing in Dandenong. The two black African girls trained not to smile at strangers. The haunted Hazara man walking alone. 3 Tamil fellows gossiping, laughing. Broken fences and paint-peeling windows. Divvy van makes a house call, it's routine. Unmown front lawns, old furniture and broken wood. Even letterboxes are a bit bashed up. I deliver flyers for the candidate and hope he believes his promises.
Cazzati. Thank you. You need a mic.
Into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark anguish. Into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark anguish. Throwing the boat around, the dark waves aside, throwing the boat around, the dark waves aside, throwing the boat around, the dark waves aside, guish. Throwing the boat around, the dark waves aside, throwing the boat around, the dark waves aside, throwing the boat around, the dark waves aside, wish. Terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, a terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, a terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, asylum guish. Terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, a terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, a terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, asylum guish. Remote, detain, remote, detain, into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark, and into the boat. The torture, traumatise, and terrorise a long survival. Into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark, and into the boat. Small fishing, floating, fit for 50, something stretched at 150. Into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark, and into the boat. Stuff shreds of cloths tight into cracks, wounds, stop the leaking ocean. Run over here to stop the overturning boat, run over there to stop the overturn, run over here to stop the overturning boat, run over there to stop the overturn. In bottles, fill for pissing, throwing up all round, yet how? No food. Into the boat, the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark, and into the boat. All hope closed down as Navy bleating, do not come, or we will shoot. Into the boat, as the dark, and into the boat, again, and into the boat, the dark, and into the boat. Deserted island graves have names, Afghani way they came before. Terrorist, guard security, electric fence. Terrorist, hooked in by depressing drug. Terrorist, poke her with a stick to see if she's dead. Terrorist, drink shampoo, will kill himself. It's un-Australian to sew your lips together. Terrorist the boat, wooden box, terrorist the boat in the dark, terrorist the boat, days on end, terrorist the boat, riot shields, terrorist the boat, live batons, terrorist the boat, tear gas out, terrorist the boat, terrorise avert, terrorise avert, terrorise avert, terrorise avert, terrorise averting to the terrorise averting to the terrorise averting to the terrorise averting to the jump on sharp wire, terrorise, pull down steel gates, terrorise, 1,000 protest outside fence, terrorise, run for their lives, escape and go for jump on sharp wire, terrorise, pull down steel gate, terrorise, 1,000 protest outside fence, terrorise, run for their lives. The dark and into the boat, the dark and into the boat, again and into the boat, the dark and into the boat, again and into the boat, the dark anguish. We are not criminals. Throwing the boat around, the darkened waves aside, throwing the boat around, the darkened waves aside, throwing the boat around, the darkened waves aside, guish. We are not animals. Terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, a terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, a terrorist, the boat and under a siege again, asylum, guish. Into the boat, dark and into the boat, the dark and into the boat, the dark and into the boat, the dark humanitarians. The darkened into the boat, 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 remote boat, darkened into the boat, darkened into the boat, darkened into the boat, detained boat, into the.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to be here today among friends and family and friends. I'm going to read 4 poems today, and I'll tuck into them straight away. The first poem is called The Naked Word. The naked word. I understand naked words, like Cousens in the deep night of fixed and falling stars. If you go to your window, you can hear them. It is the end of someone's wedding, or perhaps a boy is leaving on a boat in the morning from Dusko's Taverna. And Audens, the stars are not wanted now, put out everyone in funeral blues, like when words spoken in a moment cut us in two, and there are no stars. It's called An Australian Story, and it is my dad's story. I'd like to say hello to my dad. He's in the audience today. Yasu, Dad. Yasu. I wrote it after I did a series of interviews with him recently. Half of his story I didn't know until a few weeks ago. My dad is here, as I mentioned, and he hasn't heard the poem before, so this might be a bit tricky. Okay, I'll start. An Australian Story. I am Vasily. I never got to finish any age, because suddenly the door would swing open and my brother and I would be flung outside. Sorry, I've just got to get rid of this one, it's open. Bear with me, I'm just going to start that again. I am Vasily. I never got to finish any age, because suddenly the door would swing open and my brother and I would be flung outside. It started early in Pylos, Greece, where the guns of Navarone were set. Joy was cut short before Peter and I saw the light of day. Born in 1934, Peter's mother had died while giving birth to him. Born in 1937, our father became paraplegic in an accident on the way to hospital for my birth. They say that a childhood that does not start cannot end, and so it seemed with us. Our father, a learned man, spoke 3 languages and taught us how to read and write, while our mother tried to solve maths problems like, how many pieces do I need to cut this loaf of bread into if I want to feed full mouths over 7 days? My brother and I would hold out our hands and then put them back into our pockets. We shared our hunger, and we swallowed the lump in our throat. We were children without bread, we were children without dreams. But we were children with each other and friends like Nico, Ilya, Adoni, Vasily, Riga, and Marini. We mapped secret paths through orchards that weren't ours for a pear that was worth its weight in gold, and played games with marbles that got us used to the idea of taking chances. Then, before I turned 5, Dad died. Mother cried, Peter cried, and I cried. And we became poorer until World War II landed on our doorstep. The enemy set up headquarters in the house facing ours, and I would knock on that door for a piece of bread or a tin of corned beef in exchange for 2 eggs. It was always the same soldier who would open. He would point the gun to my face through the crack of the door until he could see who was on the other side, trying to keep a handle on his life as we tried to keep a handle on ours. Once he realised it was me, he would welcome me in, pat my head and warmly greet me with, "Piccolo, piccolo, s'accomodi." He offered me a seat where I would wait while he searched for some bread, or a tin with some food inside. He was a nice man. 6 months later, Mother announced that she was getting married again, to a cobbler this time, whose first name and surname were the same as my father's, but he was of a different bloodline. Mother danced, Peter laughed, and I cried, and cried, and cried. Don't cry, Peter would try and say comfortingly. He will bring us some figs, and he will make us some shoes. We will have shoes, just think of that, shoes. But I knew he wouldn't. I had watched him long enough, and he hadn't taken a second look at us. He was the wrong man. Before the week was up, Peter disappeared. The wrong man tried to explain. Peter had to go. I'm not his father, your mother's not really his. So he's gone to an orphanage in Patra to be with other kids, just like him. Towing the tears, my knees buckled in the freezing cold as I left for school. The snow on my bare feet now held the temperature of Peter's absence, and the marbles that rolled away now held the colour of his eyes. I wanted to find him but didn't know where to look. Life lumbered along, and I found solace in study until I was nearly 12, when suddenly Mother said, "You're going to Thessaloniki tomorrow. There are better schools there, and my brother will take good care of you. He has lots of money and owns various shops. You'll be better off." When I got there was no school waiting for me to attend. I worked in a butcher's shop and carried a carcass on my back for most of the day. That could have been my own. In return, I got pocket money. I used it for bean soup and slept on the couch. There were no wages, not enough money to leave. Until one day, at Christmas in 1954, a brown envelope arrived for me. I am in Bonegilla, a place in Australia, 35 days away from Greece. There are a lot of other people here too, and flies that sound like the army jets racing through. We are served pastry with soggy meat and a side of soggy potato that is as pale and formless as my identity in this foreign land. It's stinking hot, and as you can surmise, the food is not great. But there's plenty of it to go around, plenty of it. I'll let you know as soon as I get work and my own place. My brother was alive and found, and his letter unfastened the latch of the trap that I had been set in Thessaloniki. In 1956, another letter arrived. I have rented a room at 26 Mitchell Street, 26 Mitchell Street, Northgate, and I have bought you a bed. My boss at Arthurstone Press says he has a job for you as a feeder. When you get here, you'll need to go to Athens before month's end. Dad's friend, Adonis Roulamis, who works in Social Security, will meet you there. He will have some passport photos for you to fill in, to leave. There was no need to ask if I wanted to leave. We all did back then. We detonated ourselves on home ground and looked for the pieces on foreign land. I packed my mission brown suitcase in 20 pounds and boarded the Tasmania at Perez Port on the 11th of September, 1956. 34 days later, on the 15th of October, the Tasmania pulled into Station Pier in Melbourne at 10 a.m. Suddenly, the door swung open, and the ship was transformed into a giant fallopian tube with myriads of people racing through, like spermatozoa, looking for the eggs to reconnect and fertilize all over again. I stood bereft of a compass in a sea of faces. My eyes darted right, left, and peripherally. But I did not know how to recognize my own life's blood. I hadn't seen my brother since I was a little boy. Almost everyone had left the ship when I heard a couple next to me saying, he hasn't seen him since he was a little boy. A McRobertson's bar of old gold chocolate landed at my feet, and a voice from afar. Poppy, Thanasi, that's him. He's my brother. Vasily. Some questions that a child might ask about a life. I will read it in both English and Greek. Whitlam. 1916, 2014. Signposts of a life. Blue poles, black poles, red poles, yellow poles. And the dash in between? The gallery that connects them with you and me. That line in between. Free healthcare and free education for everyone. That dash in between. The life that was lived. 98 years. That small line. Yes, but with arms long enough to embrace all the men, women and children of Australia and in Australia, eternally. I'm just reading. 1916-2014. Κύονες μιας ζωής. Σύμβολα του πίνακα Blue Poles που απέκτησε ο ίδιος. Κύονες, μαύροι, κόκκινοι, κίτρινοι, χρώματα της Αυστραλίας. Και η γραμμή ανάμεσά τους, η γκαλερί που τα ενώνει. Αυτή η γραμμή, ναι αυτή, δημόσιο σύστημα υγείας και ελεύθερη παιδεία για όλους. Για αυτή την παύλα στη μέση των χρόνων λέω, τι είναι. Είναι για την εποχή που έζησε, 98 χρόνια. Αυτή η μικρή γραμμή, μικρή μπορεί να μοιάζει, αλλά είχε τη δύναμη να αγκαλιάσει όλες τις γυναίκες και όλα τα παιδιά της Αυστραλίας. Μέσα στην Αυστραλία και καθοδόν. Παντοτινά. Thank you. I don't know if Joanna Liakakos is ready to, would like to come up and read me. Joanna Liakakos is the secretary and founding member of the Hellenic Writers Association. She was born in 1933 in Aegon. She has written more than 12 books. In fact, she had a book launch 1 or 2 weeks ago it was. And one of the things that I admire a lot about Joanna is the fact that she gives free Greek literature classes at the Northcote Library every Friday afternoon, voluntarily, and has done so since 1985. So if you wish to join the group at any point, you can find her at Northcote Library at 1:30 on a Friday till 3 with her sister Litsa Gogas, who's going to read next. Thank you.
By the numbers, I'm an old person, an old lady. I live in Australia for so many years, sometimes I forget I'm born in Greece. So I love Greece, all my body and all my soul, but I've been here so long. And I hear the previous people's always the comments about migration, about feeling terrible being in a different country, all this. But I believe I passed this and I want to be home here. I'm sorry my poems are in Greek because I didn't know. I got the idea I have to read in Greek, so different people, different language, and will make a beautiful bunch. And but I say I feel home. Melbourne, Melbourne, ωραία, πολιτεία μεγάλη. Κόσμος, πλήθη, διάφορα χρώματα, χαμόγελα μυστήρια, μάτια ενηγματικά, της απέραντης γης, παιδιά, γεμάτα ερωτήσεις, ελπίδες, προσδοκίες. Ζητούν εργασία, γνώσεις, αγάπη. Αγάπη για σένα, από σένα, Μελβούρνη, ωραία πολιτεία, καλή γη, Αυστραλία. They're different, but they come together, the meaning is together.
Can you just tell us what they are about in English? Just tell us what each
We
poem.
all different people come here to Australia, and we're looking for a job, for being studied, and we all different. We look different, but deep down we all the same. We all love Australia and Melbourne, looking for love. That's the meaning. Ωραία που είναι η ζωή, στις νιώτης στο γαλάζιο φως, ωραία και όταν ονειρεύεσαι. Αυτή που έχεις, άλλη δεν έχεις, πάει. Μην το ξεχνάς αυτό, μ' ακούς? Μην το ξεχνάς, μια φορά περνάς αυτό το περιβόλι. Μικρή, απλή, τρανή, σπουδαίοι όλοι. Και ύστερα το σκοτάδι. Ωραίο το ταξίδι αυτό, πικρό, γλυκό και ξύδι. Ωραία η ζωή, ωραίο το ταξιδάκι, ωραίο σαν παραμυθάκι. That's the meaning is beautiful, the traveling to be in the world, to live all the beautiful things and the difficult things. It's so beautiful like a dream. And that's about we all living in different countries. We come from another country and we live here. Εμείς που ζήσαμε στην ξενιτιά, νιώθουμε πάντα ξένοι. Και εδώ και εκεί, σε όλη την οικουμένη. Νιώθω και κάπως λεύτερη και κάπως άξια να είμαι, παντού να στέκω αγέροχα και να αγαπώ τον κόσμο όλων. Η γη να είναι πατρίδα μου και ο ουρανός σκεπή μου. Σπίτι μου ο ουρανός, σπίτι μου και σκεπή μου. Και οι άνθρωποι αδέρφια μου, φίλοι δικοί μου. Άλλωστε όλοι ξένοι είμαστε, ξένοι και ταξιδιώτες. We say we all live in different, we come from another country and we live in a different country. We don't feel, how can I explain this?
Like you belong anywhere.
Yeah, we just, not that exactly. We belong to all the world. We just belong to the world, it's all of us. And we feel strong. And our heart is full of love for everybody. Because we, in a way, we spread our life and our life to all the university. And when we feel we are foreigners and we worry, this is nothing. We all foreigners and we live, all we travelers, we all travelers.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Translation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next reader is actually Joanna Liakakos' sister, and that's Litsa Gogas, Liakakos. Please come to the front. Litsa is a painter and a writer, and she surprises all of us every now and then with paintings as gifts as well.
Good afternoon. Nice to be here, but I'm sorry because my English no good. So I come here from 1956, but still I can't write good English. And I read in Greek language, but it's not good. I like
Can you stay closer to the
translate in
microphone?
English. I read in Greek. Μη μιλάς, μη ζητάς πολλά. Η ομίχλη με συντροφεύει στο διάβα της ξενιτιάς. Ψάχνω για φεγγίτη, να γναντέψω την πατρίδα μου, την τότε ζωή μου, το απόβραδο με τους φίλους της γειτονιάς, ένα τσούρμο πεινασμένα γρημάκια συνοδεύαμε το μάνα της καρδιάς, στη μάχη της ζωής. Στρατιωτάκια κι εμείς, Παλεύαμε στα σειρματοπλέγματα να αρπάξουμε το μερδικό μας, να μυρίσουμε, να γευτούμε τη ζωή. Αγναντεύω από το φεγγίτι της ξενιτιάς το ηλιοβασίλευμα κάτω στον Ανικόλα, ξαπλωμένη στην πυρωμένη ακρογιαλιά, να γλύφω την αρμύρα και να ελπίζω. Να ελπίζω για το αύριο, για ένα ολόφωτο πρωινό με σένα, να συναντήσω τον έρωτα, τη χαρά, μήπως περάσει τη φτώχεια μου. Δεν ήρθε το αύριο και χαραυγή στην πατρίδα και έφυγα νύχτα. Αίμα έτρεχε από την καρδιά μου και δεν είχαμε τι να την τυλίξω. Στην ξενιτιά με ένα πύχη πανί στην καρδιά μου τυλίξα. Την έσφιξα σφιχτά και της έταξα καινούρια ζωή. Τραγούδια της είπα, τη μέρωσα. Μα η καρδιά μου ακόμα αιμορραγεί. Πάντα με ρωτάει για το μερδικό της. Πότε θα πάμε στη Μάνα Γη, στους παιδικούς μας φίλους? Εκεί κάτω στον Ανικόλα, να συναντήσω την αγάπη, να ζήσω όπως έζησα. Γέρασα και ακόμη περιμένω. Μη μιλάς, μη ζητάς, πολλά ζητάει η καρδιά σου. Πήρες το μερδικό σου. I wish in English, but that's mean how I feel in Greece with my friends, my children, and my poorness. And now, come back here and think about there, and come here, always, never Πάλι τα ίδια. Καλά είμαστε εδώ. Στη μητριά μας καλά. Καλά περνάμε. Έχουμε από όλα τα αγαθά. Περπατάμε περήφανα. Και όχι όπως στην πατρίδα που μας υπόβλεπαν για τη φτώχεια μας, αλλά και τώρα, μετά από 30-40 χρόνια ξενιτιάς, τα ίδια. Όταν πάμε να τους συναντήσουμε, γιατί μας λείπουν και τους αγαπάμε, εμείς πάρα πολύ, με λαχτάρα, αδέρφια, φίλοι και γνωστοί, όλοι αδιάφοροι και μακρινοί, γιατί τώρα μας υποβλέπουν. Τι θέλουμε κι όλο γυρνάμε, λένε, τι γυρεύουμε, ας καθίσουμε εκεί στα μακρινά τα ξένα. Αχ, πώς μας πικραίνουν, μας χύζουν κομματάκια, μας κερνάνε δηλητήριο. Και εμείς που είχαμε κρυφή ελπίδα να συναντηθούμε κάποτε, να κουβεντιάσουμε για εκείνα τα παιδικά, τα εφηβικά, τα όνειρα, τα στερημένα νιάτα. Και γυρίζουμε λαβωμένοι πάλι από την άλλη φορά.
And you can find Laurie in Federation Square on Saturdays with much of her work, books, CDs and poems. Welcome, Laurie.
Thank you, Marietta and Dorothy, for having me here.
Can you adjust the mic?
Yeah. Is that better? Yeah. I'm going to read a poem in German first and then in English. My poetry tends to be a bit invert, if you want to speak. I don't speak that much, but it seems to have a universal understanding. Veränderung. Es ist nicht einfach zu beschreiben, warum sich Knoten formen. Es ist nicht einfach zu beschreiben die Traurigkeit, die Verlorenheit. Es ist nicht einfach zu beschreiben, was man fühlt, wenn es an den gleichen Tag, den gleichen Monat passiert, aber nicht unbedingt jedes Jahr. Es ist nicht einfach zu beschreiben, warum ich alleine bin. Für ein Jahr schwelgte ich in Erkennung. Aus der Tiefe der Verleumdung arbeitete ich mich hervor und akzeptierte einen bestimmten Platz in unserer Welt. Mein Wille war stark, aber mein Herz war oft einsam. Ich verließ mich auf Wille und Intelligenz, aber die Passion zu leben bekam fragwürdig. Wenn man konfrontiert wird mit bestimmten Zyklen, die die Traurigkeit und Einsamkeit potenziert und Hormone langsam aufgeben, bevor das Herz eine Möglichkeit hat zu erwärmen, dann fragt man sich, was ist der Grund zum Leben? Aus Angst vor dem Tod habe ich Überleben gelernt. Angelangt an bestimmten Höhen fand ich Illusionen. Ich muss besser sein als mein Bruder. Ich muss besser sein in meinen Taten. Ich muss besser sein, als ich bin. Aber bin ich? Wer bin ich? Und wieder regte sich das Leben. Alles, was ich jemals wollte, war Frieden, Respekt und Liebe. Aber erst muss ich selbst gehen. I have problems with headings, so it's I just called a change in English. It is hard to describe why one forms notes. It is hard to describe the sadness, the loneliness. It is hard to describe feelings when things happen the same day, the same month, so not always every year. It is hard to describe why I'm alone. For a year I based in recognition. From the depths of denial I strived upwards, accepted a certain place in our world. My will was strong, but my heart was often lonely. I depended on will and intelligence, so the passion to live became questionable. When one is confronted by certain cycles, which maximize sadness and loneliness, and hormones slowly diminish before the heart has a chance to warm, then one questions the reason for living. Out of fear of death, I learned about life. Arriving at a certain height, I found illusions. I have to be better than my brother. I have to be better in what I do. I have to be better than I am. But am I? Who am I? Again, passion reared itself. Everything I ever wanted was peace, respect, and love. But first, I have to give it. Thank you.
After me.
Next we have Marietta Elliott-Kleerkoper, who started this event. It is her brainchild. She doesn't need much of an introduction, apart from the fact that she thought of this event 14 years ago, was it, Marietta?
Yeah, this is number 15 we're doing.
Oh. This is the 15th year that we are having this event, thanks to Marietta, and it is a celebration of all the languages of Australia. Welcome, Marietta.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. And Dorothy's been, we've been collaborating on this event for the last couple of years, and it's been great to have Dorothy work with me. She has so many connections and with the immigrant community that it's enriched the event no end. And I'd like to say a few something about this theme of journeys. The idea came to me from an event at Footscray, curated by Lila, who's here today. She's going to say something in a minute. She's now in another incarnation at Mont Salvat. She'll tell you about that in a moment. And so though the focus has been on physical journeys, of course the whole concept of journey, as Laura was just reading, that the concept of journey has to do with personal change as well. And I was moved by Litsa, your notion. I really related to that. When you are in one place, you want to be in the other place. And I have personally experienced that very much myself. I'm going to read a poem about the ship that I came out on. If you look along, or if you look at your brochure, it looks a lot like that ship there, or the ships on the wall, not as fine. An old ship, as you will hear, is the name of the ship that brought my family to Australia, together with many other post-war immigrants. We weren't exactly boat people, although we were escaping from war-torn Europe. I myself, as a lot of you know, was hidden from the Nazis as a young child during the Holocaust. But we were not refugees, we were more ship people than boat people. And we were welcomed by the then Conservative government of Robert Menzies, and we were called New Australians, although we were expected to assimilate, which Dutch people did very well, too well. We married into, I myself married and later divorced an Australian. and we are now trying to get back some of what we've lost in assimilating in those early times. However, Australia has been very good to us. I'm going to read the first section of this poem, and I'm thrilled to have Janneke here, who, is there any other Dutch person here? Well, there's at least one other person who understands the language, which is great. Es ist Volendam, Amsterdam, Melbourne, December 1948, Januari 1949. Amsterdam. Het oude transportschip had betere dagen gekend wanneer ze haar laatste reis aanvaarde met 1665 emigranten aan boord op een bleke middag in 1948. We gaan in de rij staan met onze handbagage, marcheren over de loopplank in ordelijke stoet. Vrouwen en kinderen slapen in het vrachtruim, een reuze driehoek die op en neer heen en weer slingert. De jongen in het naaste bed schiet spuugballen op me af. So now I'm switching to English. So, Es ist Volendam, Amsterdam, Melbourne, December 1948, January 1949. Amsterdam. The old troop ship had seen better days when she embarked on her last journey with 1,665 immigrants on board one pale afternoon in 1948. We line up on the quay with our hand luggage, walk the gangplank in orderly procession. Women and children bedded in the cargo hold, an outsized wedge that pitches and rolls. The boy in the next bed fires spitballs at me. Bay of Biscay, we go aft, watch the foamy wake carve through grey turbulence. The crowd heaves up in unison over the side. Rock of Gibraltar, chalk outline in the mist. The queue at the wash basin is so long, sometimes we go unwashed or have a salt bath that leaves our skin sticky all day. Mum cuts my plaits to save time. Suez Canal, textbook patterns carved in mud. Slow ships glide through the cut. Port side, Mum bargains for ebony elephants with a quayside merchant. We roam the ship, hide in the lifeboats under the tarpaulin. Colombo, Dad was stationed here during the war. We sip tea at a mountain cafe overlooking white rooftops. English lessons 1 hour a day to prepare us for life in Australia. Indian Ocean, even the gulls have deserted us. On New Year's Eve, the kids get tipsy. Mum and Dad perform Beethoven. Fremantle, our first sight of the new country, dry land at last. Corrugated iron sheds, a down-at-heel cafe in unforgiving light. Melbourne, the ship docks to fanfare and applause. We try to catch a streamer thrown up from below. We look down on upturned faces, feel like royalty. Thank you.
1837, hop from into Tassie and then over to Melbourne. And I do have a convict in my family, 1850, thereabouts. And then there's another part of the family that comes 1890s, 1900, that sort of time. And this poem relates to that family. Family matters. My Auntie Kit travelled first class on the train from Port Melbourne to Flinders Lane, looking like she'd stepped from a bandbox in a suit tailored at home on her own machine. Her best suit had a collar of real Persian lamb that curled and glowed with quality, impressed her fellow travellers. Working class we may be, but never look it, she'd say, echoing what her mother had said to her. Her mother, Mary Kennelly, loaded Kit's boys, Kenny and Morris, into the big pram and set off, walking, to do the weekly shop at South Melbourne Market. Back again, she'd cook the evening meal. She'd do anything, everything, to set her children right into trades, professions, teachers, permanently out of the bog. Who knows how she got to Australia? Sydney, maybe. And who paid her passage? Kit's father, the boss, sat by the woodhouse, fashioning reeds for his Irish pipes. He played with cousin Pat for all the Irish parties. When Kit or one of the others fancied a trip to the Emerald Isle, land of the forefathers, Mary would shake her head. It's not like that. Not like that. And the boss would agree. It's not like what you think it is. I never ever heard them wanting to go back to Ireland. That's a long time ago. Now, our open readers, we're starting with Dimitris, Troaditis, something like that anyway. And you can kill me, Dimitri. But Dimitri conducts a poetry event at Fed Square every second Saturday.
And I thank Lela for that because she passed to me.
Oh, she did, that's right.
Of course,
So
we have to recognize that.
Dimitri.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
I've got a poem here. I'm reading it in both languages, Greek and English. It's written in Greek first, and it is an attempt to make a connection of my past, in late 60s, early 70s, as a young child, in Greece, and together with today's situation. And I'm thinking that I have so many things changed earlier. Η τόποι μου. Οι τόποι μου βρίσκουν καταφύγιο σε ρημαγμένα κτίρια, σε αποπνικτικές ατμόσφαιρες, σε φωτιές που θεργεύουν. Οι τόποι μου κυλιούνται πριν ειδών, σε μάτια χαμένα, βλέμματα κατακαιρματισμένα, σε κοινούς κατακτρεγμούς και ακροτηριασμούς σωμάτων. Οι τόποι μου λυγίζουν από την απόγνωση σε προβαδισμένες γειτονιές, μορφές με βαθουλεμένα μάτια από την πείνα και τις αγρύπνιες. Οι τόποι μου έπαψαν να είναι διατηρηταίοι γιατί απόλεσαν παντελώς το παρελθόν τους. Αρρώστησαν οι θάλασσές τους και ενώθεψαν τις φορεσιές τους. Οι τόποι μου δεν έχουν βιολιά, ούτε χορούς της φωτιάς, μόνο ένα σκύρτημα απομίμησης λυκνισμάτων της πεντέρας. Οι τόποι μου αναμνήσεις από σιδερένια κρεβάτια σε θαλάμους στρατοπέδων και χαρακές στα μπράτσα, τύχη με υγρασία, πρόσωπο ένα με τους βράχους της πατριδογνωσίας. Οι τόποι μου μέρη όπου κανείς δεν λυπάται, πολιτείες που γκρεμίστηκαν εκ των έσω και έμειναν πένθυμες από μακρες όχθες. Οι τόποι μου σε παράξενη ηρεμία, σε χειμερή ανάρκη διαρκείας, σαν να ρίχνουν τα παιδιά τους στα καψαλισμένα φοινικόδεντρα, όταν σφίγγει ο κλειός των μεταλλαγμένων αναγκών. Οι τόποι μου μένουν ακίνητοι, πίσω από πολυβολία και πολεμίστρες, πίσω από πυρπολιμένα σίδεδρα, μόνοι σε καταληλημένες προκυμαίες, όξινες βροχές, σωρούς αποβλήτων, αναμονές ταξιδίων. Οι τόποι μου, προϊστορικά αγάλματα, λύθης και ασημαντότητας, σε λεμιτόμου στραμμένες, σε χαλιναγωγημένα ξέφωτα, διαλύονται, εξωστρακίζονται, σε αιμάτινα κομματάκια σε κάθε δάπεδο. Οι τόποι μου πύργοι μεσαιωνικοί με πολεμίστρες και δώρατα, με βίγλες και κρυψώνες, όπου κρεμούν άδικα τους αντιφρονούντες, όταν μιλούν με ρίγος και σύγκορμα πάθη. Οι τόποι μου ρευστοί σαν τον φως των κεριών, σε αντάβιες, σε αβέβαια τραγούδια και συνθήματα πολυκαιρισμένα. Οι τόποι μου, εγκάρσιες αντιχήσεις με παροχημένους κώδικες σε τρίγους ανελαίητους, διασκίζουν πένθυμα νερά και καρμανιόλες σε πλήρη ανάπτυξη. Οι τόποι μου λυκνίζονται έντρομοι μπροστά σε ελάχιστα φεγγάρια, χαμένοι σε ερείπια, με θιάφη απομόνωσης και σωρούς σκουπιδιών, όπου ανεμίζουν πύριες αιματοβαμμένες σημαίες. Οι τόποι μου μετέωροι μέσα στην ολική κατάρρευση του χρόνου, μουλιασμένοι μέσα στην κίτρινη βροχή που τους σκέπασε ως άλλο νεκροσάβανο και οι κάτοικοι τους έμειναν χωρίς μνήμη. My places. My places find shelter in ruined buildings, suffocated atmospheres, in fires growing fast. My places falling prone to losing eyes, fragmented sights, common persecutions, body miming. My places bent from despair in bond neighborhoods, figures with hollow eyes of hunger and sleepless. My places stopped being perceivable because they completely lost their past. Their scenes become ill, their costumes being distorted. My places nor have violins, neither been fire dancing, only a counterfeiting frisk of a 3-penny lip. My places memories of iron beds in ward cups, scratched arms, walls with damp, face same as rock, worship of motherland. My places where nobody regrets, cities shattered from the inside and stayed mournful in distant shores. My places in a strange calm, in a hibernated season, like throwing their children in scorched palm trees, pinching the clock of mutant needs. My places stay still behind pillboxes and loopholes, behind fire-bitten groves, alone in abandoned piers, acid rains, waste piles, stuck travels. My place is prehistoric statues of oblivion and insignificance. In guillotines, turned in bridal clearings, dissolve, ostracize, in hem pieces of every floor. My place is medieval towers with battlements and spears, watchtowers and hideouts, where they hang dissidents unfairly when speaking with shivering and passions all over the body. My place is fluent as a candlelight in glints on uncertain songs and stale slogans. My place is transferred resonances with outdated chords in merciless towers, cross mournful waters and booming guillotines. My place is weighing fearful in front of a few moons, lost in ruins, brimstone of isolation, piles of cabbage where Pyrrhic bloody flags waving. My place is in a limbo, in a total time, collapse, soaked into the yellow rain, drawn them as another shroud on their inhabitants left without memory. Thank you.
Fornalska.
Baumhaus. Möchtest du hinaufschweben, untergeordnet, übergeordnet, diese Situation, diese Konversation, diese Zeit, diesen Platz? Möchtest du die neue Hörer nehmen, drauf achten, was es macht, nicht was ist los, hinaufschweben, die unmittelbare Irritation, Stimulierung? Möchtest du hinaufschweben, am Atem, die konstante Stille hören, über dem Lärm? Ich habe ein Baumhaus, tief im Wald, über die Bäume, hoch im Himmel. Es ist ein sicherer Raum, im gelben Licht. Fenster lassen die Sonne ein. Eine Doppelhängematte hängt, umschlingt mich in einem schlingenden Schlummer. Die Nacht hält ihren dunkleren Mond. So können wir tanzen, ohne Licht, uns im eigenen Rhythmus bewegen. Ich höre auf mein nächtliches Herz und folge dem Puls. Er ist alles, was ich fühle und höre. Ich sehe meine Umrisse und du siehst meine. Wir geben uns Raum, werfen unsere Körper herum und hämmere unsere Brüste gegen die abendliche Luft. Wir weinen kleine heiße Tränen vor Freude. Lassen sie aus den Augen herausquellen und unsere Gesichter heruntergleiten. Ich zeichne ein Bild zu meinem Baumhaus. Es ist der einzige Weg, wie du ihn finden wirst. Es ist auf der Spitze eine uralte Eiche, fest angewurzelt in dem Boden. Sein Stamm ist solid. Ich lasse dir die Leiter hinunter, wenn du ankommst. Mein Baumhaus wird dich beschützen vor der Sucht und der Kümmel da draußen. Ich werde dir nur ein Bild zeichnen, wenn du mir dein Wort gibst, dass du alleine kommst und dass du niemandem meinen ex-markierten Schatz zeigst. Das ist mein geheimer Platz, unser himmlischer Raum, mein Om Mani Padme Hum, und ich bin gewillt, diesen dir zu zeigen. Alles im Austausch für dein Wort. Möchtest du mich in meinem Baumhaus besuchen?
Ja, gerne.
Okay, so English. Treehouse. Do you want to rise above inferior, superior, this situation, this conversation, this time, this place? Do you want to take it to new heights? Care about what's the matter, care about what matters, not what's the matter. Rise above the immediate irritation, stimulation. Do you want to rise on the breath, hear the constant stillness above the noise? I have a tree house deep in the forest, above the bush, high in the sky. It's a safe space in yellow light, windows let in the sun, a double hammock hangs, envelops me in a swing of slumber. The night holds a dark moon so we can dance with no lights, move to our own beat. I listen to my nocturnal heart and obey its pulse. It's all I can hear and feel. I can see your silhouette and you can see mine. We give each other space to throw our bodies around and pound our chests against the evening air. We cry hot little tears of joy, let them ooze out of our eyes and slide down our faces. I will draw you a map to my treehouse. It's the only way you'll find it. It's at the top of a grand old oak, firmly rooted in the dirt. Its trunk is solid. I'll lower the ladder when you get here. My treehouse will protect you from the addiction and affliction of out there. I will only draw you a map if you give me your word that you'll come alone and that you won't show anyone my X-marked spot. This is my secret place, our ethereal space, my Om Mani Padme Hum, and I am willing to share it with you, all in exchange for your word. Do you want to visit me in my treehouse?
Yes!
For the opportunity to be able to read this poem in this location, and particularly after hearing one of those poets' voices that are so seldom given a voice behind the voice. But also the voices of people who have come, and building on the theme of journeys, and being in one place and thinking about another, and then being in that place, and still the restlessness. This poem explores being in both places at once. I made a journey 30 years ago, and like all journeys, it's never one way. Even if there is severance, there's memories, there's connections, and there are songs to be sung. It's based on a sculpture by a sculptor called Andor Mazzaro, Hungarian, who may have come on those Menzies ships in 1939. He came from Hungary and set up a workshop. His son is still working as a Melbourne-based sculptor. And while I haven't seen it in situ, I understand the piece is in queue. So, The Migrant, after a sculptor, by Andor Mazzaro, Hungarian. reserved for their enemies. Yours is a more enchanting form, cast in bronze, modern in style, two figures hewn from the base up, like a tree from which they emerge. Their rounded shoulders on both sides soften the angles of the divide itself, grafted along the trunk. An old oak with young vines fought between the gods and lesser men. Their petty jealousies arousing furies that threaten to consume within their rage such deeds as make us human. Flames engulfed your homeland when you landed on these shores, facing the plight of all migrants in a place where dreams have yet to be realized as you walk down the gangway into the unknown. The other figure steps out too, his youthful gait balanced along the torso of the old man, limbs like an Adonis, all rounded and light. The next step will carry him from the old man's hands. But unlike the child god, he has not come fully formed into the world. The eyes have yet to open, the ears to grow, his sense of smell unable to guide him. Struggling in the state to discern his destiny, he moves now by instinct, compelled in his actions to seek out a new life, just as young shoots seek out the light. The vines falling away as he moves, though some still hold him in check. The piece is signed and dated 1959. For 20 years you struggled, perfecting the work and the vision in an art where the tonalities of a life held sway, encased in bronze and sheets of steel. As in music, those who played on migrant ships who came held the note just long enough for tears and laughter to fill the space. You would have held this, you would have heard their stories, sang their songs and understood, even after the last notes of farewell have faded, the memories of place still linger, like a slow air faintly heard coming in from another place. Sounds half heard, half remembered, yet strong enough to transpose the register of the everyday into imagined life of somewhere else. A wistful understanding carried in the heart of two lives lived as one. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And our next reader is Andy Jackson.
King among giants. It's the dead I most admire, and the small timid birds in the undergrowth. Standing still and writing this, the voices carry, all the voices in my head, reaching and leaning into light. This desire that shares something with the wood, the sap, the fingertip seed. I place my palm against the sapling, leave a trace.
Thank you,
I didn't stand beneath the full-bellied flopping of the sails. I never forded a river with my possessions dry in a bundle over my head. I never crawled under the wire or paid a criminal or scanned the horizon for a grey ghost ship. I didn't learn a new language or seek out a colony of people as like myself as I could. No one stared at my skin or decoded my eyes or studied my strange shoes. The worst I can say is that when I speak, my accent is like a badge flashed from under my lapel. No, the worst I can say is that the eucalypt trees' leaves are oddly thin, too thin, and that my shadow too is thin and insubstantial on the hot pavement. That's all. The best I can say, well, that's you. You know who you are. New friends, hospitable hearts, You who, against all the odds, live with open arms. That's it.
That was great. And now I'd call on Lela Claridi. Lela is a person who's been very involved in multilingual, multicultural events for a very long time.
For allowing me to do this. It's a very brief announcement that currently I'm curating a series of poetry events at Montserrat. Some people know it, some people don't. It's the first Sunday of November, December, February and March. And if people are interested, there's a leaflet here which gives you my contact. There are features and there's lots of open readings possible. So please take a leaflet and we'd love to see you out there. And thanks Marietta for mentioning the ship, those of us who came by ship, and Marietta and Dorothy will both participate in the 2015 Piers Festival, which will be held at Princess Pier 25th of January 2015, for which I'm curating stories and their poems will be part of that festival. So lovely to hear all your creation and expression, and hope to see you, many of you again.
I'd just like to thank everyone for coming, for everyone who's participated, and how much we've enjoyed hearing the different stories, the different journeys. And again, Marietta, Dorothy, thank you for all your hard work in organising. And again, thank you everyone.
We'll hope to see you here again next year.
Yes.